This is how I extract a 4010 without making a big flap. So this is a medium-sized dog and it has a 50% attachment loss on the mesial root, and you can see that I can actually move the tooth up and down a little bit. This vertical movement means that you have to extract the tooth. So what I do is first I gain access with a very sharp luxating blade. This is from Dentonomic, and it's so thin that it can easily engage that space between the tooth and bone, especially here on the lingual side. It's very important to start the path with a very thin instrument so you can insert a more bulky, a little bit thicker elevator or luxator after that you can twist without bending it. Now I section the crown and I'm using a 701L surgical length cross-cut tapered fissure burr, and I just section the tooth in a slightly oblique angle caudally, so it's easier to gain access towards the path of the actual roots. Now I do some horizontal elevation, so I switch to a luxating elevator from IM3 and just inserting it between the crown parts and gently prying them apart. And this will help get it loose. Here I engage this space buccal, mesial buccal on the mesial root, and now I again repeat. I go into the spot that my previous luxating blade created, and I go in with this more bulky luxating elevator to release it. And you can see it's already mobile, so mobile that I could take it out right now. So I continue working on the distal root on the lingual side, and see what I'm doing here. I'm putting my luxating handle under that tooth. See, under 204. This is what you want to do. You want to get it under that tooth. That's a very nice trick because it means you have a correct angle. If you place it over the tooth, the angle would not be oblique enough to engage that space. Here I go on the buccal aspect, insert it into that space between tooth and bone, and just do not even a quarter, maybe a 16th rotation to fatigue those Sharpie's fibers. So the periodontal ligament, those fibers needs to be fatigued, and you do that by a continuous pressure, not very quick pressure. Now I use this diamond coated extraction forceps that is very handy for small roots, and it doesn't slip. Or actually I switched to this one. So use whatever you have, right? And this is a standard kind of extraction forceps. I thought this could have a better grip on the crown than the other one. I'm just doing like figure 8 movements. So it's absolutely okay to do pulling and twisting when the root is so loose in the alveolus that you saw before. That means when it's rocking in the alveolus, that means that you can actually twist and pull and get it out. And now I grip the distal root, and when the roots are so loose that you can actually rock it a little bit from side to side in the alveolus, it means that it's already loose enough to do this motion, twist and pull, because it's just a little bit tight, a little bit snug. But I would recommend to do this on medium to large breed dogs first, and then move on to smaller breeds once you master the technique. But it's all about patience, really having a lot of patience for this particular tooth. So you can see that it is possible to get it out in many cases without making a big flap and removing a lot of bone when you have very sharp blades that can engage that space between the tooth and bone. This is the main reason that I was able to get these teeth out so easily, is because of better instruments. I wouldn't have been able to pull this off, let's say 5 years ago, because I didn't have these instruments. So the next step is to scrape out this granulation tissue that is present here between the distal root of the 9 and the mesial root of the 10, because you want to create an environment that has fresh tissue, not infected granulation tissue, to promote the healing of the gingiva around this distal root. So use some curettes, Lucas curettes, to scrape out this tissue, and also use some Gracie curettes. I'm going to show you here how I clean out this part. So this is a Gracie curette. It means it's cutting on one side only. So the blue one here is called a 1314, and it has a bend on the shank here, so it fits very nicely to those distal teeth. Because of this bend, you can reach this area. Make sure the sharp side of the curette is engaging whatever surface you are trying to scrape free of tissue. So here now I'm engaging the distal root. I'm trying to get this piece of granulation tissue out. It's very important that these are kept very sharp. So you can sharpen them. I do have a sharpening masterclass on my website that you can get to see how to maintain them. But you can also regularly buy new ones if every 6 months, or then make sure you get some new ones nice and fresh. But sharpening them can maintain the sharpness. And here I'm engaging that distal side again, and some of this tissue lumps here are attached to the gingiva. So now I switch to another Gracie curette. I'm angling the sharp side towards the gingiva. See, I'm actually scraping the inside of the gingiva. This is called gingival curettage. And you see my thumb, I'm pressing the thumb against the outside. So I'm pressing with my thumb towards the gingiva so that I can kind of engage the inside with that curette. This only works when you have a very sharp curette. You see here, this is very sharp. I push, my thumb is serving as a backstop, and then I'm pushing the gingiva towards the instrument and scraping. You can also use a diamond burr, cylindrical diamond burr to do this if you want. So here I'm scraping all of this stuff out, and it's a good idea to use a mirror towards the end of your procedure just to check that you have all the remnants of calculus and granulation tissue out. So here I'm using a mirror just to check this distal aspect of that tooth to make sure I didn't leave anything in there. Okay, so I was happy with this. I just took my scaler and just did a little, just to make sure there was no small pieces of calculus left right here. The next part you want to do is you want to close it. And to be able to close it better, you have to release the lingual side and the buccal side a little bit. So before you do that, make sure you take a post-op x-ray to see if you have got everything out, and if the remnant, if there's any root remnants or calculus or anything in the alveolus before you suture it. All right, I just skipped the suturing part, but you can see here I did placed a few sutures here to approximate the tissue, and this will heal very nicely. If you want to boost the healing, you can add some hyaluronic acid in this pocket. If you are a visual learner like me and you like this type of step-by-step videos to learn procedures, then you can get access to my entire step-by-step surgical library of tons of videos for dogs and cats. Just check out the link in the bio, go to my website and have a look.